There we go. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the fourth week of Inside the Lines Live. If you notice, we got a little something different going today. We got me here at Coosa in Horseshoe Bend and Anna Sophia at Elmer County. Is it at Elmer County? Or is that
No,
Holtville?
we're at Hopeville. It's
At
homecoming.
Okay, so she's at homecoming at Holtville. So we got a little bit of, coverage area teams coming together for a region matchup. And so I think that that's exactly where we're going to start today. I think we could start with my matchup. We got Horseshoe Bend here at Central Coosa. This is a bit of an interesting matchup just because both of these teams are 0-3. Both of these teams are searching to get their first win of the season right now. Horseshoe Bend is coming off of a loss against Reeltown in their region opener, and then Central Coosa is coming off a loss against Winterboro, which was a non-region game. So this one is Coosa's first region game of the year. And I mean, both of these teams are not only trying to get their first win of the season, but they're also trying to get their first region win. So we got those implications at play. But the thing I find so interesting about this matchup is the defense that each of these teams have. The main one being Horseshoe Bend runs a wishbone style offense, which prioritizes the run. Central Coosa has a bit of a problem stopping the run, and then on the inverse, Central Coosa likes to get out in space and get to their playmakers, and Horseshoe Bend has had some problems with open field tackling. So I've told Anna Sophia this over some text messages throughout the week that I really do believe that this one is going to be a shootout. I think that there are going to be a lot of yards of offense. I think that the score is going to be a little bit on the higher end. I think it really all comes down to who makes the most out of every single offensive drive. There's going to be at some point in the game where they force a 3 and out. Somebody's going to have to punt. It's who can go and respond, get that point, and get an early lead, because I think that early lead is going to be extremely crucial for either one of these teams. So I've had a bit of a toss-up kind of thinking about this game in particular.
Yeah, who do you think your impact players are going to be tonight?
Well, okay, so for Horseshoe Bend, it's going to be Braxton Wilson. Last year, I know he scored 3 touchdowns in this matchup, and I believe he had over 200 rushing yards, or about just 150. So he's going to be one of the key players as far as Horseshoe Bend's offense goes. But the one about Coosa that I'm a bit interested in is they could be without their star playmaker in Corey Thompson, which opens the door for a couple other guys as far as Javon Peterson, a guy who plays quarterback, receiver, and running back who can make plays. That opens the door for Zakai Lauderdale, who plays running back and even gets some snaps at wide receiver. But then I'm also interested in 2 of the freshman pass catchers that Central Coosa has in Jaquez Parker and Keyshawn Willingham. So this is kind of, if Corey Thompson is to play, he's going to be my impact player for Coosa. But if he's not to play, then I'm interested to see which one of these young bucks is really going to step up to the plate. Yeah.
Yeah, it seems like we've got 2 shootouts here as our games of the week. I'm at Hopeville, Elmer County, like Sam said earlier, and this game has been circled on the calendar for both teams now for weeks. It's a homecoming game.
Sorry about that.
It's a homecoming game. It's also a region showdown, and it's a region rivalry. I think that's the biggest part. Both of these stands on both sides of the field are going to be absolutely packed tonight, and these 2 teams could not be more evenly matched. I feel like there's a counterpart for every single player on each of these teams. You know, you look at the running back position, Dyshawn Ziegler and Eli Thames. You know, both of them are going to be going back and forth, and it's really going to be an absolute battle. I'm really interested to see how Gage Davis and Jacob Burgess you go back and forth on the passing games, and what teams do to try to get their passing games going tonight. I think it's really going to be a super physical game. Both coaches have told me that they're really looking to win the game on the line of scrimmage, and I think it's really going to come down to that tonight.
And that was one of the things that I was thinking about on my way here as far as talking about the game that you're out, is there is that parity. There is these guys that compare against one another. You brought up Ziegler and you brought up Eli Thames. These are both 2 of the best running backs that we have in your region, and it's really who's going to have the upper hand in this one. I was wondering, is this going to be a quarterback battle between Burgess and Davis? Is this going to be a running back battle between Ziegler and Thames? But I mean, you brought up the line of scrimmage, and I mean, you've seen both of these teams up front and personal. Who do you think might have a slight edge, in that line of scrimmage department between one another, or is it just kind of that, again, an evenly matched front?
Honestly, I think it's really going to be a toss-up. I think Elmore County has a little bit more size on the line of scrimmage coming in and a little bit more experience. But, there's some really, really great young, hopeful players who are playing on the line of scrimmage. I'm thinking of AJ Smith and MJ, I can't remember his last name, but he does exist, on the defensive line. And both of them have had such great seasons already, both first-year starters. They're both sophomores. They've been really huge impact players, obviously, being on the line, not as talked about, but both of them have already made huge impacts on their team so far. And like I said, they have counterparts themselves on Elmore County. And, despite Elmore County having the size, the home field advantage does also play a role. So I think it's really just even across the board. And I'm so excited to see how this game turns out and how each coach, what decisions they make in order to try to put their guys in the best position to win.
Absolutely. And you haven't covered a Hopeville game this year, have you yet? Or you've covered a Hopeville game, but you haven't covered a
I've actually covered two. Not a home Hopeville game.
See, that's one thing that I think you're going to be in for a treat for, because, I mean, obviously we could talk about the new turf and the new Jumbotron and everything like that, but I got to cover a game at Hopeville last year, and it is a pretty intimidating environment. So, like you said, this is a home field advantage for Hopeville. This is their homecoming. They got a little bit that they're playing for tonight. So I'm really interested to see how much of an impact that's going to have on Hopeville's play today. But yeah, I think this is going to be, this one, when we were doing our pick'ems for the week, I really could have gone either way, just because I do think that these teams are very comparable with one another. But one of the things that has been very surprising this year has been the elevated play from Hopeville. I mean, some of those games that they lost at this time last year, the Trinity one was really close. It was a 1-point game. Then they come out. Who was their second game of the season? That was.
Oh my gosh, I can't even remember. But they played Sylacauga week 3, and that's a game that they lost. Or no, they won that last season. One. But yeah,
it was. But Shelby County.
after Shelby County. After the game, I talked to Corey Lee, and he said that, he thought if the team last year would have been playing in that game this year, they wouldn't have won. Mm-hmm. And so this is just a different hopeful team, even though they have a lot of the same players and honestly not a lot of starters returning. They lost some major impact players last season. But this hopeful team just has a different kind of grit and a different kind of energy coming into this season. And it's really hard to describe, honestly, but they just want to win so bad. And honestly, I think that's something that's really stood out to me about them. They play really well as a team. They support each other. The sidelines are always loud and rowdy, and they're always supporting each other no matter what. It's going to be a really, really great game this season.
Absolutely. I think we're both in for some really good games tonight. But we're going to get into some of our other games going on into the coverage area after this commercial break. But thank you guys for tuning in, and also want to give a shout out to Dunning Roofing. I don't know if I gave them a shout out at the beginning of the episode, but appreciate them for sponsoring. If you have any roofing needs, be sure to get into contact with Dunning Roofing. But we'll be right back after this commercial break.
Hi, my name is Andrew McGreer. I'm the owner of Dunning Roofing. We serve an area from Birmingham to Montgomery to Auburn to Opelika and all the surrounding Lake Martin area. Well, we've been in business for 25 years almost, and we've been growing every year since then. Recently, we won an award by GAF, who's the largest manufacturer of shingles in the world, and we've achieved a Master Elite status. That Master Elite status is critical, not only for us as a company. Only 2% of roofers worldwide ever achieve this designation. We got it because we're exceptional. We look forward to helping you.
Life's daily battles are not meant to be fought alone.
We're not powerless, so long as we don't lose sight of what's important.
Don't be afraid to seize that moment to talk to your friends.
Cloud, you okay?
Because checking in on a friend can create a safe space.
The first step on our new journey. You coming?
Reach out to a friend about their mental health. Seize the awkward. It's totally worth it.
Alrighty, and we are back with week 4 of Inside the Lines. My name is Samuel Higgs. I am the sports editor for the Alex City Outlook, and I am joined by sports reporter Anna Sophia Meyer, who is at Hopeville. I am at Central Coosa. Big region matchup between the two. But I think it's time to get into some of the other games that we got going on in the county. First, I'd like to start in my neck of the woods with Benjamin Russell. Benjamin Russell is taking on Chilton County for their second region game of the season. And Anna Sophia, I don't know if you knew this, but Benjamin Russell has never lost to Chilton County. That could be me jinxing it very slightly, but the two teams have met each other for 18 consecutive, but 18 times, and Benjamin Russell has won all 18, and I don't see that changing this week. If I remember correctly, Chilton County is 1-2 and is just coming off of a loss against another region opponent in Helena. But I mean, Benjamin Russell has been on a tear as of late. They go and win 40-7 against Clay Central. They go out and absolutely obliterate Calera. I believe it was 42-13. Quarterback Kingston Prayer threw for 4 touchdowns in the game. Elijah Johnson continues to be an amazing goal line back for them. And I mean, defensively, they're forcing turnovers and getting to the quarterback. So, I mean, I think this is another game where they can come out and make a statement. I remember Elijah Johnson having a lot of success in this game last year, throwing 4 touchdowns, 3 of which that went to Zedarian Morgan. And I imagine that's probably going to be just about the same this go round. I guess if there's anything that you want to know about this matchup, Anna Sophia?
Yeah. Tell me about how Benjamin Russell's defense, I know they've been pretty good this season, how they play into this type of matchup and what challenge they have this game.
I think the biggest thing is just bringing that level of consistency that they have shown the past 2 weeks. I mean, there is like a possibility that they can get complacent and just know that they have the talent to be successful. It's just whether or not they continue to bring it to them. And I mean, they got amazing pieces on the defensive line. You got Kendarius Bird, you got Charzell Davis, you got Vontae Traylor, you got Christian Smith, who've all done an excellent job at defending the run. Then you got their double trouble in the inside linebacker group with BJ Hicks and Charles Chappelle. I mean, I think running the ball is going to be very difficult for Chilton County again, and then their secondary has also been playing very well. So I think it's just consistently doing what they need to do on the defensive side of the ball is just going to be very key for them in this matchup.
Yeah. Back in my neck of the woods, Wetumpka is taking on Pike Road this week. And, you know, just another situation. I feel like a theme this week has been we all want to be in more than one place at one time. Unfortunately, it's not possible. I would really love to see this Pike Road team take on Wetumpka. I'm sure I will later on this season. But this is a really, really, really good Pike Road team coming in. Last week they beat Rehoboth 63-0, which is just an absolutely mammoth score. Last season, Pike Road, Wetumpka was at Pike Road and they lost 17-12 in a shootout. And I think Wetumpka's just had some common themes, some offensive efficiency problems, and that seems to be a similar problem again this season. You know, they're still putting up they put up almost 500 offensive yards against Russell County last week, but they still ended up losing 31-18, which clearly says a lot about, you know, getting all the way, making drives on offense and just not finishing, not converting to a touchdown, or not even converting with a field goal, you know. But this Wetumpka team is young, and in a couple years, I think they're going to be really a team to watch. They've got young running back Jordan Hill taking most of their carries, along with junior running back Dion Floyd. They've also got a sophomore under center this season with Charlie Skipper, and he actually played in that Pike Road game last season, and he threw 3 interceptions. That was a huge theme of the game, and ultimately one of the reasons that they lost. So this game would be a huge win for Wetumpka, and I do believe that they have it in them, that they can do it. But Pike Road is just a really formidable opponent, and I think this is another game to watch here in Elmer County. It's going to really say a lot about how the region or 6A Region 2 standings are going to shake out this season.
Absolutely, and I think one of the biggest things that I'm interested to see what Wetumpka can do in this matchup is Pike Road has maybe one of the best two-way players in 6A with Jordan Holmes. I know he's going to Kennesaw State University. I mean, he's a top 3 rusher. He's the leading receiver. He has the most touchdowns on the team. He has 3 interceptions. He's up there in tackles. I mean, this is a guy that does it all for Pike Road. So, I mean, limiting his success is going to be extremely crucial. But, just also looking at the stats, they have a senior running back, Mike Jones, who's averaging almost 100 yards per game. Getting pretty loudy and rowdy behind me. But I'm interested to see how Wetumpka can overcome, a talented player like Jordan Holmes. But I am interested to see the growth of Charlie Skipper from last year's matchup to this year's matchup. I mean, obviously 3 interceptions isn't the best day, but I mean, from what we've seen the past 3 weeks, this dude is not afraid to air it out, and he is, I think top 10 in the state in passing yards. He's up there in touchdowns as well. So I'm interested to see what kind of growth we can see from him going from that sophomore year matchup, going against one of the premier teams in 6A to where he is in his sophomore year. So definitely.
I think Charlie is a really smart quarterback, for a sophomore. He plays out there with a lot of poise. But one of his main advantages is that he's got receivers. He's got Caleb Ballard, he's got Andrew Boyles, he's got John Hudson Wingard at tight end. All of them bring, besides Caleb Ballard, all of them bring experience. But Caleb Ballard is just a freak athlete, and you can get a ball anywhere in his vicinity, and his length and his height and his athleticism. If you give him a good chance on the ball, he's probably going to come down with that. I had the opportunity to see Wetumpka play in their opener at Beauregard, and Caleb Ballard had just some incredible plays, and I believe this is his first season playing football, and he's already got offers from Troy and Georgia State, and he's been on visits to second season, and he's already taking visits with your Georgia Bulldogs. Unfortunately, got to get the Texas Longhorns in there in the mix somehow. But Caleb Ballard is just a freak athlete. And I really think this Wetumpka defense has an opportunity to shine this week. Against Russell County, Russell County barely, I think they had like 5 more offensive yards than them last season. But in spite of that, Walter Myrick still came out with a record-breaking 24 tackles in that game. And, he broke Wetumpka's in-game tackle record with those incredible 24 tackles. He's such an athlete. He's just a really good overall and just balanced player. He's really smart. He knows where to be, and he really packs the punch when he, tackles someone.
Absolutely. Well, we previewed some of our other heavy hitters this week. We're going to take another commercial break, and then we're going to get into some of the other games that we got going on. I believe everybody's got a region matchup this week, but we're going to take a quick commercial break, and we will be back to talk about some of those other.
Hi, my name is Andrew McGreer. I'm the owner of Dunning Roofing. We serve an area from Birmingham to Montgomery to Auburn to Opelika and all the surrounding Lake Martin area. Well, we've been in business for 25 years almost, and we've been growing every year since then. Recently, we won an award by GAF, who's the largest manufacturer of shingles in the world, and we've achieved a Master Elite status. That Master Elite status is critical, not only for us as a company. Only 2% of roofers worldwide ever achieve this designation. We got it because we're exceptional. We look forward to helping you.
Life's daily battles are not meant to be fought alone.
We're not powerless, so long as we don't lose sight of what's important.
Don't be afraid to seize that moment to talk to your friends.
Cloud, you okay?
Because checking in on a friend can create a safe space.
The first step on our new journey. You coming?
Reach out to a friend about their mental health. Seize the awkward. It's totally worth it.
And we are back for the fourth week of the season for Inside the Lines this week. And you know how I said I didn't know if Corey Thompson was going to be playing earlier? Well, I looked behind me during the commercial break, and he is playing, so expecting a big game out of him. He against Randolph County, he put up 4 touchdowns in a multitude of ways. And I mean, that kind of leads me into this other one. I mean, Dadeville at Randolph County, and I mean, Randolph County maybe has one of the best running backs in all of 3A. The kid is averaging 300 yards a game and 4 touchdowns. He's already approaching 1,000 yards on the season, and they've only played 2 games. So I'm very interested to see how Dadeville can do in this game. But I mean, against Beulah, they absolutely ran the table. They were out physical Beulah. They were just dominant from the start. They had a little bit of a lapse, but then picked right back up. So, I mean, I imagine that this is going to be another one where Dadeville can really set the tone and really tell everybody, like, hey, this is not the same team from last year. We're legit this year. So I'm excited to see how Dadeville can do in this one. Want to get your thoughts on the Park Crossing at Stanhope game tonight.
Yeah. This should be a really interesting game for Stanhope. I think it's going to be a different type of challenge. They're coming off a 40-0 win against Percy Julian last year. I believe they lost that game last week, but I believe they lost that game last season. And this is just a completely different. I'm sorry, you can hear the band coming. I hope you can still hear me.
We're good.
But okay, great. This is a different Stanhope team. They're just so much more well-rounded than they usually are. They've got junior and Davis Oshie at quarterback, and that really just adds another element to their offense. They're really led on offense by senior captain and center Mason James, and he's done such a great job just getting opportunities for the leading rusher, I think, right now in the county, D. Barnes. He had 5 touchdowns. He had all 5 touchdowns for the Mustangs last week. And this is also another home game at 17 Springs, a brand new facility. I think this is going to be a really fun one and just an absolute treat for all Stanhope Elmore fans out there.
Absolutely. And then one of the other games we got going on this tonight is Ranburne at Reeltown. Reeltown's coming off of the win against Horseshoe Bend last week. And I mean, I think that this is going to be a very similar situation as to what it was last year. They lose the week opener and then they just go on a tear from here. They did it against Trinity. They did it against Horseshoe Bend. And I imagine that trend continues against Ranburne. Elijah Woods has had back-to-back 4 touchdown performances. He could go for it again last year in this game. Jamarcus Smith, I believe, threw 4 touchdowns. So, I mean, it seems pretty likely that somebody's going to have a 4 touchdown night tonight. But the other game that we got going in your neck of the woods is Booker T. Washington at Tallahassee. A little bit of a homecoming for Coach L.A. O'Neill.
Yeah, this is absolutely a homecoming. L.A. O'Neill actually left the head coach position at Booker T. Washington Tuskegee to take the head coaching job at Tallahassee. I think this is his 2nd season at Tallahassee, so it's only been about 3 years. This BTW team is nothing to sneeze at. It should be an all-around challenge for Tallahassee, but they're just such an athletic and well-rounded team, and they're so well coached by O'Neill. I truly think he's one of the best coaches in high school football in our area right now. And I would really like to see how Tallahassee's defense comes out. They've had a trend in the last few weeks of just starting out slow on offense. So I think it's going to be a real interesting game as far as, seeing if Tallahassee's defense can put some offense together early in the first quarter. Because if they get down against this BTW team, there's no saying whether or not they're going to be able to get it back. But I do believe in this Tallahassee team and their ability to make big plays on every opportunity. They've had special teams, make an impact in almost every single game. In their game against Elmer County a couple weeks ago, they had 2 safeties, which is just absolutely insane. Their special teams and their defensive really, really stood out to me. But this is going to be definitely a challenge for the offense.
Absolutely. And now we get into some of our private school games. Southern Prep, for me, played last night against Escambia Academy. Escambia? I think I'm saying that right. Unfortunately for Southern Prep, it was a 44-12 loss. But I mean, when I talked to Coach Rodriguez, he was very proud of what he saw from his team. And I think I've explained to you, they've been hit with the injury bug. They've been hit with some other things that, don't necessarily pertain to on the field action. But I mean, he was proud of his sophomore quarterback, Braden Pace, and what he was able to do commanding the offense. Defensively, you see 44 points and you automatically assume that, things didn't go too well. But I mean, Escambia was averaging, I believe, 60 points a game, and they held them to 40. So that's nothing to scoff at. But I mean, Southern Prep is getting some new kids in throughout the year, and I think that's only going to be a benefit to them because I think they're running out with 11 on an 8-man circuit. So some more names, some healthier names getting going, and I think things should start get going for Southern Prep. But now we go to your private school with Edgewood. Edgewood at Hooper.
Yes, yeah, they're traveling down to Hopewell and taking on Hooper Academy. This is a really big game for Edgewood, I think, coming off of last week's 42-0 win against Lakeside. Talking to Coach Burton after the game last week, he really said that he just saw his team come together and do everything that they could to win. And obviously, at 42-0, the offense was definitely on that game. And so I think this is another challenge for Edgewood and just to see what they're capable of this season. And if they win this game, I truly think that they could, improve what they did on last season and truly make an impact in AA region and AISA.
Absolutely. Well, I believe we have previewed everybody that we got going on in the coverage area. If you guys are planning on going out to a game this Friday, I don't know if you should bring a jacket. It's lukewarm right now, but
it's a nice probably low 80s right now. Great night for football.
I was about to say I think it's supposed to get into the 70s, if not high 60s, by the time games are finishing. But if you guys are planning on getting out to a game, please do. And if you want to hear about how all of our cross-county teams are doing, be sure to pick up a special edition of our Sports Extra. But other than that, I think that's everything that we have for you. Again, want to give a shout. Ooh, I didn't even put the sponsors at the bottom. I want to give a shout out to Dunning Roofing for being a sponsor of Inside the Lines. If you have any roofing needs, be sure to reach out to them. But other than that, it's football. Let's go.
Be sure to follow Sam and I on all social media as well. I'm at Anna Sophia Meyer.
And I'm at Samuel Higgs on Twitter. So be sure to follow us and everybody get excited for football.
Yeah.
Alrighty, well, we'll catch you guys later. And again, thank you to Dunning Roofing for being a sponsor of Inside the Lines. Bye, everybody.